Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring something really relevant for so many people, the experience of neurodivergent individuals in Canada. And, well, the push towards a more inclusive country. Just imagine for a second, maybe waiting 4 years. 4 years just to get a diagnosis that could finally get your child the right support. Or think about being in a crowded place, feeling completely overwhelmed, and just nobody around seems to understand what you're going through. Or maybe just needing someone, anyone, who really gets it, and having no one you can call. Well, for a lot of neurodivergent people in Canada, and their families too, this isn't imagination. It's often their reality. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. We're looking at how one key organization, Autism Canada, is working to sort of flip the script on these challenges and really reshape inclusion. We're pulling our insights from their report, Autism Canada, Building an Inclusive Nation. Some really compelling stuff in there. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and it's important to know Autism Canada, they're not new to this. They've been a national lifeline, really, since 1976. So almost 50 years now. They've been connecting families, educating communities, advocating for change, and maybe most importantly, really listening to what individuals on the autism spectrum and their families actually need. What's really striking is seeing how they've adapted over time, kind of mirroring this growing awareness in society and, well, the urgent need for services that are actually accessible.
50 years, that's quite a legacy. It's amazing they've stayed so central for so long. But it feels like, despite that history, the need for accessible services, for genuinely inclusive programs, it seems more intense than ever now. What's driving that, do you think?
You're absolutely right. The pressure is definitely increasing. And the statistics, they really tell the story. Autism now affects 1 in 50 Canadians. 1 in 50. Just think about that number for a moment. That's a huge part of our population needing informed support, needing programs that work for them, and often, the existing systems just aren't keeping up. This big jump in prevalence, it really underlines why Autism Canada's national work isn't just nice to have, it's critical. Their initiatives are specifically designed to tackle this growing need right across the country. They're working at a scale that can make a real difference.
Okay, so with such a huge and growing need, where do you even start? What's the cornerstone of their approach?
Well, a really core part of their work, maybe the best place to start, is education. Because really, genuine support, it has to start with understanding, doesn't it? So their Empowering Through Education initiative, it offers these really accessible literacy programs, trying to bridge those knowledge gaps.
And these programs, they're not just for specialists or anything, are they? Looking at the source, it seems they're reaching really wide, like in-person sessions, virtual ones, aimed at educators, first responders, employers, even just people in the community who are curious. What do people actually get from these sessions? Is it more than just, basic awareness?
That's a really good point. It goes way beyond just awareness. Participants learn real, practical skills. Things like how to communicate with empathy, how to actually create sensory-friendly spaces, and, just how to interact respectfully with people whose brains might process the world a bit differently. And what's fascinating here is seeing the direct impact. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the outcome isn't just individuals knowing more. It leads to more inclusive workplaces. It leads to safer public spaces, places where everyone feels more comfortable, and ultimately just kinder communities. It fits perfectly with the goals of the Accessible Canada Act, too, that big push for a barrier-free Canada. It shows how these grassroots education efforts are really vital for hitting those national policy targets.
Right, that makes sense. You see how the practical stuff feeds into those larger national goals for accessibility. That's powerful. Okay, so beyond building understanding through education, Autism Canada also seems really focused on making space for different kinds of expression. Tell us about this platform for creativity, Diverse Mind Designs. What's that all about?
Oh, this one's really vibrant and I think deeply meaningful. It's based on this idea that, creativity doesn't have limits, and neither does neurodivergence. So Diverse Mind Designs is this collective, and it showcases original art, inventions, crafts, designs, all created by neurodivergent people.
Okay, so it's more than just an art show then. What makes it really impactful?
Exactly. It's not just a gallery space. It's a platform with a really clear mission. The main goal is to promote these incredibly talented creators and, this is key, provide a space that doesn't just foster their creativity, but also helps build connections within that community of artists. For many neurodivergent people, creative work is a really powerful way to express themselves. And this platform gives a voice, amplifies voices that maybe haven't been heard much in more traditional art spaces. It kind of raises an interesting question for us, doesn't it? doesn't it? How important is it that creative expression also becomes a way to build community and connection for this group? It takes it beyond just the individual piece of art.
Yeah, it sounds like creating a whole supportive environment almost, using creativity to build those bridges. That's neat. Speaking of support, let's shift to something that can make a massive difference for families.
Hmm.
Getting help early. The sources really highlight this major problem in Canada, those incredibly long wait times for an official diagnosis, sometimes up to 4 years in certain provinces. That's just an age for a parent desperate to help their child. How does Autism Canada tackle that systemic issue?
That waitlist problem, yeah, it's exactly why their community assistance program, they call it CAP, is just so essential. It basically helps bridge that huge gap between families desperately needing help and these overwhelming wait times. CAP directly subsidizes access to assessments, support services, therapy.
Okay, so when you say subsidizes, what does that actually mean for a family trying to navigate this?
Yeah. It means that getting timely help actually becomes possible for families and caregivers right across Canada. It can totally change the path for many. I mean, imagine knowing your child needs support, but being told, okay, maybe in 3 or 4 years we can do an assessment. It's devastating. CAP lets families kind of sidestep that delay, access that crucial early intervention, and we know how much difference that can make for a child's development, for the whole family's well-being. Instead of just being stuck, waiting on the system, it's like a targeted intervention to get around a real blockage in care.
You really can't stress enough how vital that early access is, can you?
Hmm.
Wow. And then there's this other really big initiative coming up. Sounds quite groundbreaking. The National Support Line. It's launching in October 2025, right? Thanks to CN Rail as the founding sponsor. The sources point out that social isolation is a massive challenge for autistic and neurodivergent people. So what's so revolutionary about this support line?
Well, this isn't just, another helpline. It's fundamentally different. It's based on peer support. It's going to be Canada's first ever national autism support line that's staffed by autistic people themselves. That's the crucial part. For so long, support often came from professionals who, might be well-meaning but aren't autistic. This flips that completely.
So it's less about just getting information
Mhm.
and more about that real connection, that understanding that comes from shared experience.
Exactly. You've hit it right there. The potential impact here is just huge. Think about it. Whether someone's having a really tough day, or maybe they want to share a special interest with someone who gets it, or they just need to talk to someone who truly understands their experience without needing a ton of explanation. This line offers that authentic connection. For so many people who felt misunderstood or unheard or just plain isolated for so long, this is going to be such a vital resource. A space where their reality isn't just acknowledged, it's deeply understood because they're talking to someone who's been there. It could really change the game for community support.
It's clear they're thinking really big picture with initiatives like the support line. Yeah. But the sources also show they get that support isn't always about huge programs. Sometimes it's the practical, everyday stuff, right? Tell us about the small tools, meaningful impact idea.
Right, this focuses on those tangible things we might easily overlook, but that can make a world of difference day to day. Autism Canada provides sensory support kits. These are really practical toolkits. They have items and communication aids in them, all designed to help create comfort or provide ways to regulate in environments that might be overwhelming.
What kinds of places are we talking about? And how do these kits actually, help someone?
Oh, think about a busy airport terminal, or a noisy classroom, maybe a crowded mall or public event. For lots of neurodivergent folks, these places can trigger sensory overload. So the kits might have things like noise-reducing headphones, maybe some fidget tools, visual communication cards, things like that. These tools basically empower people. They help them regulate their senses, express themselves if speaking is hard at that moment, and just navigate these everyday situations a bit more smoothly. It's about giving people tools for self-advocacy and comfort right when they need it. Helps prevent those moments of feeling totally overwhelmed or being misunderstood.
And it looks like they're also working on the other side of that interaction too, training for the broader community to understand these things.
Exactly right. They offer recognizing behaviors training.
Right.
This is aimed at educators, businesses, service providers, equipping them with the knowledge they need to recognize sensory and communication differences in neurodivergent people. But what's really insightful about this training, I think, is the focus. It's not just about spotting a difference, it's about how you respond. Responding with empathy, with curiosity, with respect. So, for instance, if a kid is covering their ears in class, the training helps the teacher think, okay, maybe sensory overload, not defiance. And then the response might be offering a quiet corner or those headphones we mentioned. It builds that understanding and inclusion into just normal, everyday interactions, turns potential friction into support.
Wow. Okay, so from tackling those huge, frustrating 4-year diagnosis waits to dealing with deep social isolation, and from celebrating unique talents to providing really direct, practical support with tools and that amazing support line, Autism Canada seems to be working on all fronts. They really are trying to flip the script, aren't they?
Right.
Turning those barriers into actual pathways for support, for celebration, building a more inclusive nation, like one connection, one bit of understanding, one tool at a time.
It's a remarkably comprehensive approach, isn't it? Covering everything from the big systemic issues like diagnosis delays right down to daily sensory needs and social connection. It really is an inspiring model. And as we think about all these different initiatives, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? It raises a bigger question for all of us, really. How can these core principles, empathy, understanding, tailored support, the things Autism Canada demonstrates so well, how can those principles inspire us? Inspire us to build more inclusive communities in every part of our own lives, going way beyond just the specific programs we talked about today.
That's definitely something important to think about as we wrap up. A really valuable question for all of us. Thanks for diving deeper with us.